by the government.
The government's own data tells us that in the first 8 months of 2020, fewer Canadians died than in the previous year. That's not my opinion. That's the government's data.
That data's not out yet. I'm positive that data's not out yet. This guy's probably reading the same thing that every other person is. No, not that. What the fuck? There were more than 7,500 excess deaths across Canada from March to the start of June 2020, which aligns closely with the 8,345 deaths caused by COVID-19. What are you talking about? What do you mean? It's fucking right here. Google. Oh my fucking god. Now we respond to a bunch of dumb asses.
Correct.
Life is good. Okay, so I've got...
I saw the first one that said I was born in Africa.
I know, that one looks like it's going to be so stupid. Oh my god, I'm stoked. So context for everybody that's watching right now. In Edmonton, they just had like a walk for freedom, which is specifically, according to their posters, it's anti... so it's end the lockdowns, end the fake science, and end the... what was the other thing they said? And end the fake news. That was it. Those are their main contentions. So they gathered in Edmonton and were protesting essentially all of the lockdowns. I'm sure the anti-mask stuff and blah blah blah. Fear is a choice.
Fear is a choice.
That's always one of my favorite things, because like their whole like rhetoric is that like everyone's trying to make everyone's trying to like generate fear and stuff. Like the media's trying to generate fear, and like
right,
that's the whole idea. But I'm like, that's what you're doing. You're generating fear against like authority figures. That's literally what you're like. It just seems like the most asinine thing. Okay, so this one, I think this person is claiming some pretty wild shit in this one. I was born in Africa. Okay. I'm actually black on the inside. Okay, I don't get it.
Okay.
Laura makes a good point here, everybody. This is Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson.
Everybody.
All right, so we got down there. It's a whole bunch of white, spoiled kids that all they do is shout and swear and whatnot. And they have no idea who Karl Marx really is. Hey, we're doing a picture here. All right, and all they do is they insult this lady here. They insult me and they insult all of you. Why?
I don't know. I'm born in Africa. I'm actually black on the inside.
Yikes. If you're gonna say stuff like that, then it's like, okay, well, it's like when you say like, oh, I was born in Africa, I'm black on the inside, it's like you're asking for it. I think that like you're asking to be made fun of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's also just completely ignoring the fact that you have like white privilege being that you like present as white, obviously. So there's a lot of privilege that just comes along with like existing in society as a white person, just literally just looking white.
Yeah, definitely.
You won't be like subjected to like just random racial like biases that people have on the bus by being white, usually, for the most part, right? Like or whatever, right? That's just like a random example, but like if you go into a grocery store with your hood up and a backpack on as a white person, are you as likely to be like immediately like pointed at as someone who may be a potential thief or whatever kind of thing? There's a bajillion examples that we could like string along here that you get from just being like having white skin.
My thanks to each and every one of you for exercising your courage by being here today and exercising your charter freedom of expression.
I think that's a Trump flag, right?
Oh,
is that what you saw?
I think it was a Trump flag. Don't forget to full screen it as well.
Oh,
can we dissect this right now
before we go
continue
further?
This?
Sure, yeah.
People who say that the government locking us up is quote unquote against our charter of rights and freedoms.
Ooh, should we just look that up right now? That'd be fun, right?
Like, people who say that, it literally grinds my gears, because I'm like, it's not a part of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I'm like, have you read the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? We had to read it in grade 10, 11, and 12 for social.
Fundamental freedoms. Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of conscience and religion.
Doesn't go against that.
Doesn't go against that, right off the bat. And maybe they would make an argument that they can't gather.
They can't gather for religion, but people can do it online.
Doesn't deny you the right to your religion at all.
Exactly. So
it's across the board, no gathering for any like so it's not even going to be it's not bullying anyone in particular.
Yeah, no one is being excluded from that. It's a blanket statement across everyone.
Yeah, and I don't think it f***s with your conscience either, though. That's kind of a very vague like catch-all word, but
yeah.
So they might be able to like try and worm their way around that, but I'd have.
I wouldn't think so.
Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. I don't think that they're being suppressed here either. They'll claim that they're being suppressed because of like Facebook fact-checking them and stuff like that, or deleting.
That's not being suppressed, though.
Yeah, miscommunication, but that's
stopping the spread of misinformation.
Yeah, and that actually has nothing to do with even like Canada's rights. That has to do with companies and their rights to TOS. Terms of service.
Oh yes,
that's Facebook terms of service stuff. That has nothing to do with like if you want to sign up to use Facebook and stuff like that, or any Twitter, blah blah blah. Then they have the right to essentially, if you're using their programming and everything kind of thing, then they have their terms that they set for whether or not you should be allowed on there or not, and that's completely in their rights to do. Freedom of peaceful assembly. Well, they are gathering.
They are gathered, so that's not against that.
Yeah, it seems like that's fine. And I believe they even got the rights from the city to do that. You have to get like permits or whatever. So
yeah, you do have to. Yeah, you do have to get that approved before you do that. Any sort of like gathering or assembly, you have to get approved. Yeah. And when you don't, it's technically a riot.
Yeah, exactly.
Quote, unquote. Or sorry, it's an unlawful gathering.
Oh yeah, that would be what it would be. Yeah. Okay, so and then the last one is freedom of association, which, or did I skip over one? Freedom of peaceful. Oh no, yeah, peaceful assembly. Freedom of association. Freedom of association is one of the most basic rights enjoyed by humans. It ensures that every individual is free to organize and to form and participate in groups, either formally or informally. Doesn't seem like that one's being infringed on either.
They're gathering. They're part of a group. The group to protest the lockdowns. So I would say negative. What are they? They're 0 for 6, 0 for 5.
I think so, right? Yeah. The best argument that you can make maybe is that the government is not helping people out enough who are forced to like not be able to work, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I could accept that argument, but that's never the argument that's presented with these anti-mask rallies. It's their solution is just to like undo everything and let people live their lives the way they want to and let COVID just run rampant. So that's like.
I mean, hey, natural selection, am I right?
If only it didn't negatively affect everybody else who was trying to be
exactly
responsible.
Exactly.
One portion of their brain that seems to still be working.
I survived polio. COVID means nothing to me.
Free. Oh my.
What's being infringed on?
It doesn't seem like any of the things are being infringed on. The way that people understand rights and freedoms seems to be just super. I'm positive that any examples that people could give us of charter rights specifically being infringed upon would be them just misunderstanding how those rights like apply to them or how those rights apply in general.
Yeah, I would say that's safe.
Very good.
Like safe to say.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Back to where we are.
We continue.
Charter freedom of association.
Yeah, we fucked that one.
Charter freedom of peaceful assembly.
That one seems fine.
These are our God-given freedoms.
God-given? Whoa, buddy.
Man-given, not God-given.
Man-given, baby. Those are afforded to you by government systems and bodies, not by God.
It's like law. Go over to China, see how many freedoms you have over there.
Truly. Yeah, it would differ depending on each country you're in, which is not based on God, right? It's based on
exactly. If it was based on God, everyone would have the exact same laws.
Exactly, yeah. Or at least anyone that worships God in some degree, or that implements it in their society would be.
They do not come from Dina Hinshaw. They do not come from the Calgary Police.
Fool!
These are God-given freedoms, and we are proudly exercising them.
They don't come from our medical officer or the police. Conveniently doesn't mention that they actually come from a governing body called the federal government.
Today, as
so it's like, to be fair, he's not wrong. They don't come from Dr. Hinshaw directly. They come from an assembly of government officials.
Is this an Edmonton of?
Right, so it's like, you know what?
Or
they're 1 for 36, I think.
Truly. You know what? I'm going to be real right now. I didn't expect to watch this video and actually hear anything truthful. I'm absolutely... what's the word? What do English people say? I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
I'm gobs.
I'm absolutely no.
As Kyle would say, you've been no.
Got him.
Oh.
Amazing. Okay.
You've been no.
There it is.
There it is. We're good. Okay, we continue.
I applaud your courage because, you know, there's been statements issued by the police that they're going to issue tickets. And I listen carefully, and we want to be friends with the police. I agree with what Brad said. The police should be protecting our rights and freedoms.
And the public health.
And the chief of police, he said a few things. Two of them I found interesting. One, he said that this was just temporary limits on our constitutional freedoms.
Well, that's a lie, because I wouldn't even consider this to be like any kind of infringement or limit.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that probably wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I think that police officer is just dumb.
Temporary. We're into our ninth month of fear-mongering, our ninth month of people dying because they didn't get their cancer diagnosis on time. We're into our ninth month of elevated rates of suicide and alcoholism.
Whoa. Nope, that's a lie. That's a straight f***ing lie. Headline, suicide deaths in Alberta in 2020, fewer than what was recorded last year. Get f***ed. Owned, bitch. Fucking got him.
Actually, I think that's where I gotta end the stream anyways. I have to make supper still.
Very good.
Rip.
This is the 13Army signing out. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Very good. We continue.
Very good.
Two of them I found interesting.
Joke's on you,
One,
he's
he said
still
that
here.
this was just temporary limits on our constitutional freedoms.
Alright, well,
Temporary.
I'm gonna go make my supper now.
We're into our ninth month of fear-mongering, our ninth month
Wait a
of...
second. I missed that the first time around. He's fear-mongering right now.
Our ninth month of people dying because they didn't get their cancer diagnosis on time. We're into our ninth month of elevated rates of suicide and alcoholism and drug overdoses. Millions of people thrown into unemployment. These are not temporary. If these were temporary restrictions, I wouldn't be here today, and I don't think you would be either.
That is, what do you mean? I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard at all these dumbasses when the restrictions get lifted in like a fucking year. Eat your fucking own words. Oh my
If it was just 2 weeks to flatten the curve, you know, we weren't holding the rallies back in March and April. That would have been okay. I'd support
Everyone
it 2
says
weeks.
this point too, like the 2 weeks thing. And like that would be true if we had ever said that in Canada, but we didn't go off the 2 weeks to flatten the curve model. We like if we did that, we would have locked down like New Zealand did. That was what they actually did, right?
Yeah.
We picked like the middle route where we like half locked down things, but we allowed most businesses to still like kind of do the initial lockdown we had was pretty hard, but after that we just like opted for like a more like half lockdown, where they try and like selectively lock down only certain things. There's no way that of course it's not going to be like a 2 week thing. Then we're just like prolonging the suffering and pain.
To flatten the curve, but we're into our ninth month. So I'm sorry to disagree with the chief of police, but these are not temporary restrictions.
Everything is temporary.
What was made was that the place to fight this is in the courts, not on Stephen Avenue, not at Olympic Plaza. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disagree. The answer's both.
Fist fight COVID, bitch.
Court action from the time you file the court action until you get a ruling.
True words have never been
It's 2
spoken.
years if you're lucky, probably 3 years, and quite often 4 or 5 years. To compare COVID to the Spanish flu is irresponsible fear-mongering. It's the same fear-mongering we're hearing today.
True, it is the same fear mongering we're hearing today. got him.
So I gotta ask you a question. With this unusually deadly killer on the loose, the way the politicians want us to believe, do you think that in the first 8 months of 2020, from January to August of 2020, do you think that with an unusually deadly killer on the loose, do you think that we would have had more Canadians dying or fewer Canadians dying?
It depends on the restrictions implemented by the government.
The government's own data tells us that in the first 8 months of 2020, fewer Canadians died than in the previous year. That's not my opinion, that's the government's data.
That data's not out yet. I'm positive that data's not out yet. This guy's probably reading the same thing that every other person is. No, not that. What the fuck? There were more than 7,500 excess deaths across Canada from March to the start of June 2020, which aligns closely with the 8,345 deaths caused by COVID-19. What are you talking about? What do you mean? It's fucking right here. Google. Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god.
It is very interesting though too, because you have to be so accepting to some degree of the information that these people are willing to peddle to you, but you also have to equally have like a large amount of like irrational skepticism also. So it's weird.
Go home and research it, but you don't.
Yeah.
Gets more interesting.
Oh baby.
Gets more interesting.
I'm ready. I'm
in the
interested.
first 8 months of 2020, the government data tells us there are fewer people dying of cancer, fewer people dying of heart diseases, fewer people dying of stroke, fewer people dying of lung disease.
Wait. Didn't he just say earlier that more people were dying of cancer? Didn't he literally say that in the... No, he did at the start of the video. He was like, we have so many people dying of cancer.
You're at 642, go back.
Okay, yeah.
Month of fear-mongering, our 9th month of people dying because they didn't get their cancer diagnosis on time.
But yet the cancer deaths are down.
That's not what he believes, though. He doesn't.
I don't even know if the cancer deaths are down. I just wanted to point out the fact that he's arguing both sides of the coin.
Yeah, but
they can't both be true.
He's saying that they're higher, and he's saying also that the government's saying they're lower. So he doesn't believe they're.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pointing out the contradiction. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. Let's find out, baby. Okay, so it's a lie again. It's a lie. Once again. 82 is what the 2019 number was. And
the keyword is when he says the government. Like when he says that little rant, the government data, that's when he's like, I'm about to lie, so the government data says.
This makes it more believable. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Dude, this guy, literally, so how many lies has he just straight up told now? Like, this is like the 5th time. Literally anything he said has been a lie. Like,
fewer people dying of heart diseases.
Should I just
dying of stroke.
Should I just auto assume that everything he says is a lie and just be uncharitable as now that he's lied like 5 times? Like, do I really need to look up every one of these other data points? I don't think I do anymore. I don't think it matters.
Well, if someone comments and asks, you can.
They can look it up themselves. It takes like 5 seconds.
Fewer people dying of lung diseases, fewer people dying of pneumonia, and fewer people dying of influenza.
Okay, so the pneumonia and influenza part are very, very like obvious ones that like you brought up already. Yeah. What do you think happens when you have a pneumonia or influenza which is spread through air particles the exact same way that COVID is spread, and you have a population that has adopted masks by, I would assume, at least like more than 50% of like Albertans or Canadians are wearing masks, right? Like even like that amount, even like 10% of people wearing masks, even if like mask wearing wasn't like really great, but they were still happening, you would still see a decrease in the spread of things like pneumonia and influenza, especially when you consider the fact that pneumonia and influenza are less contagious than COVID-19, less contagious, which means that like masks are going to be even more effective on them. So yeah, of course there's no f***ing influenza cases and deaths. Of course there isn't. Like this is just like a byproduct of when you implement things like masks and social distancing. Of course.
But what the government's own data is telling us is that we had 10,295 fewer Canadians die from these cancer and lung diseases and so on, at the same time that we had just shy of 9,000 people die of COVID. So, not my opinion, it's the government's data. The other harms of the lockdowns that this report delves into are the cancelled surgeries. Thanks to the
canceled surgeries and stuff are probably problematic, but I don't know how to solve that, like in a way other than like maybe that we implement such harsh lockdowns that the hospitals like have like no COVID cases because we just eradicate it, and that allows the hospitals to like do what they would normally do, right? But that calls for harsher lockdowns, right? So you can't have both. You can't like let COVID spread and then complain about how like the hospitals have to deal with COVID, right? You can't have it both ways. There's only so many nurses, doctors, etc., etc. I think that they're like our hospital beds or whatever. I don't remember the exact number, but I think that at any given time, like they can't even like put like they don't even have enough beds for like 1% of our population. I'm pretty sure, like at any given time in hospitals for like our actual population. So like it wouldn't take much of anything to overwhelm the system essentially.
200,000 Canadians had their medically necessary and in many cases life-saving surgeries cancelled. Shame. That 200,000 doesn't even include the number of people that ordinarily would have had a surgery scheduled and did not get a surgery scheduled. On top of the 200,000 cancelled surgeries, we have 500,000 Canadians did not get their MRIs and CT scans in a timely fashion. 500,000.
I don't know if I want to believe anything he says now because everything else has been a lie, but even if those things are true, I would say that those things are probably problematic, but like I said, you need more lockdowns like in order to fix that problem. So what they're doing right now is not going to actually solve the problem.
Scientists in the United Kingdom estimate that the delays in cancer diagnosis and delays in cancer treatment in the United Kingdom will kill as many as 35,000 British citizens. And when you transfer those same numbers to Canada, we're looking at as many as 18,000 Canadians dying unnecessarily from cancer.
If you just adjust that for proportion,
this is what the
that would be a completely incorrect way to do that. You have to base it on how the countries are that would be a really, really complex math equation. You'd have to base it on like how many people are specifically having their cancer treatments or whatever like postponed and stuff like that. I highly doubt. I don't know. Let's see. Brain. 37.59 million. It seems like that's probably what they did. My number's like a bit off. I have about 20,000 instead, but I also didn't like include all the decimals, so that's probably it. Anyways, I highly doubt that the math is good.
We've got increases in suicide because of unemployment and from unemployment alone, we have at least an increase of at least 680 more people that have killed themselves because of rising unemployment. That does not include the likely even larger number of people that are killing themselves because the government is forcing and imposing social isolation, taking people away from their friends, their family, taking people away from their churches, their 12-step programs, their sports leagues, their bowling, their hockey, their soccer, connecting with friends at a restaurant or at a pub. Don't kid yourself. Suicides are going up because of the lockdowns.
Don't kid yourself.
Drug overdoses.
Just
on
ignore the
rise.
data.
In British Columbia, 5 times as many people have died of drug overdoses compared to COVID.
I think that's correct.
In Alberta, more people have died.
But that doesn't mean that the drug overdoses are product of the lockdowns necessarily, and it also means that actually like the number of people dying of COVID being less is actually just a testament to how effective the lockdowns have been.
Jason Kenney and Dina Hinshaw came up with fear-mongering, wildly false, erroneous, exaggerated models in April, telling us that 32,000 Albertans would die of COVID even with lockdown measures in place.
At this point in time, the virus was still fairly novel. So we still had like a lot of stuff that we didn't understand about it. So a lot of this data would just be like their best guesses based on as much as they knew at the time. Of course, if we know more now, then of course it's going to be like we're going to be able to model better.
doing more good than harm. Well, I have yet to see the evidence, because speculation is not evidence. You can assert that the lockdowns have saved lots of lives, but if you don't have any science to back it up, and they don't,
Wait a second, but they have.
you're just operating in the realm of...
No, they have. We know that because places that didn't implement lockdowns had like massive amounts of deaths. Yeah, the states were fucking bad. Italy right off the fucking bat was like didn't have enough like their hospitals got so fucking overwhelmed by COVID initially that they had to like literally decide who lived and died. We know that like the worst case scenario definitely exists. Like this is like I don't even like what even is this point?
I want to ask for your help for this. We're in the process right now as I speak.
Give me your money.
Manager is interviewing people.
Oh, give me your money, all you gullible
and our lawyers are paid entirely by the voluntary donations that the Justice Center receives from Canadians. So if you're in the crowd today, and if you support these court actions, if you want to see them succeed, we can't do it. We've got a very, very strong legal team. We already have 7 staff lawyers, but these are not our only cases. We're fighting lots of tickets.
Money.
And
money.
If you get a ticket, don't pay, plead not guilty, get in touch with the Justice Center. We're going to do our best to represent as many people as possible in defense of their freedoms. If you want to see these court actions succeed, donate to the Justice Center, www.jccf.ca.
We can't succeed without your
website, money. Sign up for our newsletter. No amount is too small. Whether it's $1,000, $500,
what the
$200, $100, $50, $25, $10, no amount is too small. Go to our website and donate so we can pay for
They're just
these
fucking robbing you.
so that we can sue.
Getting you all riled up so they can take your fucking money. Amazing. It is right. Oh, it's an MLM.
Closing, I got 2 thoughts. One is, remember,
Give it up for John Carpay! Speaking of donations, we are also taking donations because we are doing the same thing. We are going to be fighting these tickets. You know what? We welcome the ticket.
Spread the wealth, baby.
We're going to challenge jurisdiction and we're going to win.
We're gonna win.
Yeah, exactly. So we know why we're here today. We want to go and make some noise and be loud and proud. And the funny thing is when they tell us to stand down, we rise up!
Beautiful. Yeah, that was like 99% crock of shit. Have a good one, amigos. Thanks for popping by.